guess we're sticking to coffee tonight. We'll be fucking.
Well,
Wait,
never
do
had
you have
coffee?
coffee? You have coffee too?
Yeah, I have coffee right here.
All right, we're
The
live,
fuck
by
you
the
giving
way.
me shit about
We're live.
drinking coffee when you have coffee in your hand.
Because I have coffee easily accessible. It wasn't my intention to drink the coffee during the show.
Oh,
You guys
wow.
are drinking coffee pretty late at night.
I specifically brewed
I'm not gonna drink
coffee
coffee late tonight.
for this.
I
So,
probably need a
You
cup
know,
of
yeah, I got this coffee with this in mind.
If I drink now, I'll never go to sleep.
my mic's not picking up the coffee noise.
Oh.
Damn. What a waste.
If I drink like in the morning, I drink like a couple cups, or like I'll have like a nitro or something. If I drink that now, I think I'd have a problem. This is,
yeah, I was debating whether or
A little
not I
bit
was going to
less.
do decaf or Italian roast. And I decided not to
Italian
hate
roast.
myself later and play it safe.
Ugh. Mm.
Yeah, Jesus. Speaking of coffee.
We'll see. There you go.
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from Texas, yo. It's taking me a couple of days.
Are you back? I thought you left today.
Then I left
Saturday.
Saturday night.
Oh, well, Dana, we
How
would
could
have
he be
invited
where
you
he
out
is?
on Monday. We thought you were with family.
Nah,
You could have met Kara with a K.
I could have.
Brutal.
Strong move.
You're right. I could have.
There, yeah, you're
Strong move.
right there on the money.
Well, what can you do?
Nothing now. What the heck is this? Drop frames. Fuck you.
You dropping frames over there, bro? Pick them up.
Too far. The hell
Pick
is
'em up,
this?
bro?
Jeremy, we're good for Friday, right? Because I've
Dropping
invited
everything.
people.
Oh yeah,
Okay. So I have people coming.
good.
Get
People
I'm
the
up
time.
at
fuck done.
3.
Not tentative people, but like more people, which means no one will show up.
Perfect.
No, I get some work people
Oh,
coming.
what
so.
the hell is happening?
I'm excited.
It's always something.
The heck?
Dude, it's dropping like all my frames. Might have to
Why
just
drop
restart
your
this
frame?
bitch. Well, hold on. Let me figure this out.
All right. While you're figuring that out, I'm actually gonna go to some sailors. I'll do that.
There you go.
Oh,
Oh, so you're gonna fucking?
Oh, now he's
Are we-
drinking.
Are we drinking tonight or not? For fuck's
I'm
sake!
kind of on this not drinking thing actually.
Becoming
Really?
a stoner holic, not a stoner holic, a sober holic.
I guess so. Yeah, not stoner either. I'm quitting, giving it up.
Giving
Giving
it
up
up,
that
eh?
bohemian lifestyle of yours.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I had a good run. I had a good bohemian run.
You got to get back on this monster.
You know what I'm
dude.
saying? Yeah, like I lived that hippie beach life long enough now. It's time to
That's like
sober up
one
and face
summer,
the
dude.
reality of life, man.
Like one summer, like
summer.
6 years ago.
No, it's one summer, a summer ago.
I don't know if I lived with. I know if I lived with Johnny, that drinking would be way more prevalent in my life.
Yeah, hence the not trying not to. We're not live, right?
We are live.
We're live?
I told y'all we were going live.
I didn't hear that. I never
Definitely just
know.
make,
Okay, well,
you
I-
just make us
I
go
did
live,
say-
like,
I did
all the
say.
time.
Okay.
Although I actually said that with every intention of it being live.
You need like a flashing light or
I
something.
do.
You
Yeah,
need
like,
to just fucking.
I just
like,
need to turn
say,
these
hey,
to, like-
everybody, we're live.
I did say
Jeremy, we're live. Ben, we're
that.
live.
Okay,
Carol, we're
I'll
live.
specifically
You
say.
need to fucking
Jeremy.
like make sure that we know.
Okay, look. I may have been off the off headphones. Maybe that's when I grabbed my coffee or something.
No, it
Yeah,
was
maybe
definitely.
not
When,
that
it was when we were
Or
talking
maybe you
about
went live
Bevs.
before I joined on the call.
No,
No,
it
he's
was when we were
saying
talking
that
about
he
when we were
sucked.
talking about Bevs, the Bev situation.
So
Yeah,
Going live is not a we're going live. It's a Ben,
I'll turn-
we're live.
I'll turn these
Jeremy,
to
we're
red.
live.
These will be blue because I like.
Ooh,
the blue
there you
better.
go. That's
There we go.
actually
So
Yeah.
if they're blue, then we're live. If these aren't
Just-
on or blue,
I'm
Oh,
gonna
you're
forget
saying when
that
the
anyway,
lights-
to be honest.
me
That's
too.
what I'm gonna
fucking
It's not
forget,
gonna.
guys.
It's not gonna
It's
happen.
just a
not
verbal
on.
confirmation. Just say a name and say we're live to everybody. That's 3 times. Repeat
It's
it
a lot
3
of work.
times. Everybody will know that we're live. This is the
It's a lot of
easiest.
You
work.
way
made
to
them
do it.
red.
Yeah.
That would make sense because that was the old days, right?
You already
Mhm.
say all of our names on the podcast, anyways. You could just fucking do it twice.
I think you're just assuming that we are that attentive. We are not.
I guess I am. I mean,
He
when
always
you
slips it
assume,
in.
you
He's
make
like-
an.
He's
when-
like, yeah, I'm drinking my coffee. By the way, we're live. live, and also we're gonna go.
Yeah, I'll go get my. Oh, yeah, we're live really quick, by the way. And then coffee's good.
Honestly, if you whispered it, we would probably hear it better too.
Yeah, if I got really close, I'm like, hey,
Like,
guys.
why is he whispering?
I want you to know that we're live.
Oh my gosh.
And we're gonna
Here's a random question for you guys.
Go ahead.
hit
Take a
us.
little room pull, stilt skin right here.
Fuck, that's an old meme, sir, but it still checks out.
Okay, well, I'm running with it.
All right.
Okay, so this mall by where I grew up closed recently, the Orange Mall or the Village.
What?
Right?
It did?
Yeah, it's I mean it's almost all gonzo now. Like the
Huh.
mall's still open technically, but everything's shut down.
Like
Okay.
Sears is gone, and yeah.
Macy's
Dude, I'm
gone.
surprised
JCPenney's gone.
Sears
Yeah.
is still around.
It's
Yeah.
not-
Okay.
Yeah, keep going.
So the old knife store there had been there for 45 years. I didn't know that. 45 years, it's closing down. What did I
Wow.
do? I bought a bunch of knives.
I was about
Nice.
to say you bought a bunch of fucking knives.
Okay.
Yeah.
And some of the knives I bought are these, they call them butterfly knives or balisongs.
Mm.
Yeah.
I love them. I'm really good at flipping them. and
Can you
shit.
flip one right now then?
Aren't
Yeah.
they illegal?
You want to see? Sure.
Oh, we're live, by
No.
the way.
I know. It's like, it's-
So this is the one. This is
Jeremy
the one that I
lives
got.
in a place
So
where
technically
these knives
this-
are illegal.
You know,
It's
they're,
just
they're
Costa
supposed to be
Mesa.
legal.
So don't fucking. I'm trying to give him an out here.
They're
Sorry.
closing anyway. This is dull, so that's probably why. But here it is. So this one's all black. kinda hard to
Ooh, that's
Oh.
cool.
You can.
That's the way it's legal. It technically only has a blade on one side.
Yeah,
Is it-
and
is
it's
it
a
it's
little bit?
very dull. Like,
Mm.
On the other side, if it was two blades, then it would be illegal.
oh,
Hmm.
that makes sense. Anyway,
So they
so I
gotta-
posted. I was gonna post a video of me flipping these things, and right before I did it, I thought, like, you think people are gonna like call the cops on me?
100%.
Like, who's
100%.
this weirdo? But people post like pictures and videos of them going shooting all the time. Like no one
I
bats
think,
an
I think
eye.
it depends on what you're doing. Like if you were flipping it over an infant's head, yeah, I would call the cops.
Okay, well, that's yeah.
I wouldn't.
That-
Solidarity.
But if you're just doing it, yeah,
It seems like a double standard because I know people post pictures of them going shooting and stuff all the time, no big deal. But I feel like if I post a picture of me doing this or a video of me doing this, people would be like, "Oh my god, what
I mean, it's
a
cool,
weirdo."
and you're really talented at it, but people are just gonna see it and think that you're like gonna kill somebody. Like
Oh.
the problem, I think the real problem is like having you flipping knives on your social media is not going to give you the impression that like you're a cool guy that flips knives. It's going to give the impression that you're like some kind of gangster that like should be stayed away from to most people, which is an
What
unfortunate
kind of gangster?
yeah,
See,
it's
that's
an
the
unfortunate
difference I'm
bias that
talking
most
about,
people
though.
have. They're going to
pretty
see you
cool.
with the knives and they're just going to be like, this guy's like not somebody that I want to identify with. And then like you're going to be doing something and someone's going to pull up a video of you flipping knives and be like, you're untrustworthy. And you're going to be like, well, fuck, now I can't get this fucking
If-
job.
if your whole social media was you flipping knives, I would agree with you, Ben. But one knife flipping amongst 90 base covers, I think is going to be a
I don't know, man.
What
I don't
if
know. We
And
had-
it's
you
a story,
flip
so
the
it's not staying
knives
there.
to
It's
play
gone in
base?
24 hours.
yeah.
I think
you
oh,
can do
well,
that.
if it's a story,
Yeah,
that's
if it's a
fine.
story,
But
that's a
Daryl, we
different
had this
story.
conversation.
Let's all pretend for a minute. Let's get back to reality, and let's all pretend that we're nobody, and no one's going to know or care. Flip your knife.
Okay, I'm posting.
Well,
But
I don't know. I
on the-
mean,
on the story.
what if
I'm just saying that like we had this conversation, Daryl, the other day, and everything you do is scrutinized. Every single thing you do is scrutinized. There's no privacy anymore.
Mhm.
So be
even
prepared to be
flipping dull knives.
yeah, I honestly I think it's bullshit personally, but like I just know how people are, and like for me, it's like I'm just gonna flip knives for people like my friends. I'm not gonna fucking put
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you. Like my own personal Instagram has nothing on it, and that's the only social media I use besides Reddit.
I know, and you're
I don't
fucking
put-
old. Like imagine somebody with their whole life ahead of them. Like Jeremy.
Exactly. Most of my life's over. So, and even on Reddit, the only thing I've ever posted is a couple of, like my motorcycle.
Oh, you know what? Posting
videos.
you flipping your knives on Reddit would actually be okay. I think if you posted them in like.
But I mean,
the-
I
the
don't
knife
post anything
flipping
else.
subreddit or something.
You know what?
I
I
don't-
think
Don't
Then
make
you have to get in
comments,
Reddit.
I don't.
I think there's probably a whole subreddit for butterfly knives, but everyone on
I
there
bet
is
there
probably
is.
way
Oh,
better
I'm
than I
guaranteed
am.
it is.
Yeah, but I
Probably
mean,
no
it's.
good.
I mean, you could still just be like learning how to flip butterfly knives, and then like be really good, and then everybody's comments will be like, "You didn't just learn how to do that. You're amazing," and you'll get like 1 million upvotes. So
1 million upvotes. Okay.
Wow.
Well,
I mean, what's the
Or
point of posting
40.
stuff to social media?
40.
If it like, I post my talents to social media because I want people to be like, hey, you're kind of good at that. So
I don't know, man.
But
I
also,
mean,
it's
that's why
it-
Dan's a
it-
part of that
it's
Facebook group.
community. You don't need. Yeah, you don't
The
need
photo one?
500 upvotes.
Oh,
to
yeah.
be part of the
No, it's
community,
true.
you know?
It's true.
Well, it's more because I just got this new toy and I want to show people how cool the toy is.
I think it's a very cool toy.
That's pretty cool.
Pretty sweet. Kind of like a fidget spinner. Spinner.
Fidget spinner.
Fidget spinner.
Imagine
Ooh,
a
a
fidget
fidget
spinner
spinner.
knife. Well, you know what's really funny is if it wasn't a butterfly knife and was instead some kind of like a machete and you had 3 of them and we're fucking juggling them, then people wouldn't think you were dangerous, even though machetes are way
Yeah.
more dangerous than that dull ass knife you're holding.
But you're juggling them with something which is something super dorky. You're right. Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if I
Juggling
came across somebody with 3 machetes in a fucking dark alley or one person with a butterfly knife, I feel like, you know, priority wise, you should be afraid of the guy with the 3 machetes. But like, you know, society biases, it's like the guy with the butter knife, right? Or the butter knife, the butterfly knife.
The butter knife.
I'm gonna spread you across some toast.
Oh my god.
Lord.
Fidget
Ugh.
spinner. What did you say? The butter
Fidget
knife?
spinner. It's like
fidget
fidget
spinner.
spinners for adults, you know?
Fidget spinner and a butter
Hmm.
knife walking to a bar.
Oh god.
I think you should play bass with your Balisong knife. That'd be cool. If you flipped it
Ooh.
and then hit strings.
Challenge
That would
accepted.
that would be pretty neat.
Threaded it or used
Yep.
it as like a bottle slide. You know?
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Ooh.
That would be cool.
Suck it, Reddit. How about that?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
might not
there
be
you
the
go,
best.
Reddit.
I might not be the best, you know, butterfly knife guy, but can you play bass with one hand and
Mhm.
flip a butterfly
I'm
knife?
sure
There you go.
there's
Yeah,
gotta-
hammer-ons and pull-offs.
There's
That's all you need.
probably-
And
there's
then you have
probably
the
a video of somebody
flipping.
doing exactly
But you
that.
can do it.
That's
but you
it.
could do it better than him.
$1 million idea.
Yeah.
Record a bunch of those videos and then sell them as NFTs. Did you hear that?
That's the new thing.
Did you
That
hear
is the
that
new
they
thing.
pulled the Charlie Bit My Finger video
Yeah.
to sell it as an NFT? And it's
I think
made
it's a
like
genius idea.
$730 million or something.
I think it's a
Ooh,
genius
wow, That
idea.
is really good.
It's
That's a really good idea.
insane. It's insane.
That's exactly what you should do, man.
Yeah, it's internet history.
This
Like
you?
take all those Rage comics and sell them as NFTs, like the original, like the
Well,
dudes.
honestly, I do support like this is just obviously a publicity stunt, but the idea that NFTs become something that actually is like enforceable raw art would be really good for the internet, because like Dan posts his pictures to Facebook groups and somebody could very easily just take those pictures and post them to Reddit and be like, I'm
Mhm.
this guy. And unless Dan is on every single fucking thread saying, no, you're not, like it doesn't matter. But if all of your photos were NFTs, then you wouldn't have that problem at all.
See, that's why I don't care about, and a lot of people do this too. Is they don't care about watermarks on their pictures anymore, because you can just Photoshop has a spot healer brush where you just, and it's content aware,
Yeah.
so you just
Or people
swipe it
crop
once,
in right past the.
or you can do that. Yeah, but
Yeah.
even if it's like a Shutterstock, a lot of that stuff
Crop
you
it
can
down.
just like content fill.
When I was making remember I
easy.
made a bunch of mix CDs for us and I made custom album art for them.
Mhm.
A lot of those had watermarks on them that I just photoshopped out.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's pretty
Like,
easy.
I mean, I wasn't doing it for I wasn't selling these things, so it's like not a breach of anything, but still it's like, you know, not hard to get rid of a watermark if you
4,154 members, Jeremy. 6 online right now. Butterfly knife.
Whoa.
There you
There
go.
you go.
There were-
There's-
I
And
knew
the
it.
first videos are guys flipping them, and I'm watching the videos. I'm like, this is Jeremy's hand. It's gotta be Jeremy's hand. So I think
No,
we're already on there.
you thought I already
Tell it.
posted it on there.
Yeah.
That's Jeremy's hand. Could
Jeremy's
you
hand.
imagine it's just a full fucking subreddit of Jeremy's? He's like, these are my people.
Of Jeremy's.
You guys all play bass too?
Jeremy's.
Yeah, they all
The
play
butterfly knife
bass.
Jeremy's.
Yeah.
They're all heavily involved in their local churches. Like it's just like they're very, just like the exact carbon copies of each other.
That is so funny.
That would be cool.
All audio technicians.
Those are
4,000
pretty
best
good.
friends immediately.
I mean, that's the whole point. Finding like-minded people online, dude. That's what you want.
Well, I was gonna segue,
Unity.
but then he stood up.
Oh,
He.
Well, anyways,
my dad.
let's segue into
Yeah. Speaking of
like-minded people.
speaking of 4,000 friends, so we watched Invincible.
We did watch
Yes.
Invincible.
Yeah, and I guess we should start this podcast off. It's
Yeah. All right. Well, fucking.
been a while. All right, welcome
roll
to
roll the intro.
We Like This podcast. I'm joined today by myself, Dana Waters, Jeremy Dallas, Ben Nickerson, and Dura Waters, and we talked about or we are going to talk about. I'm already closing this thing. We are
We're
going to
just
talk
shutting it.
about
Getting outta here.
Invincible.
Hey, now it picked up.
Yeah, we can hear that.
Yeah.
All right.
Boring. Are you gonna
Good.
chug that entire French press?
Sounds of urine.
Yes. It's not an
He
entire
pour-
one. It's just
Throws
some.
the cup and drinks out of the fucking goblet.
I just wanted to get rid of that cup. That was the bad one. So yeah, Ben recommended this. Did you watch it at all before you recommended it to us?
Jeremy finished the entire thing before I even started it.
Okay.
I just saw I saw that it had popularity on Reddit, and I was like, people really like this show.
The show's
Got
blown
it. We
up.
should check it out.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I
Jeremy,
started watching
I want to know your thoughts on it specifically because this seems like a lot of the animation that you like to watch.
It is. It's totally up my alley. I started watching it on my birthday, actually. I think that's
nice.
around the time it came out. And yeah, dude. I
Happy,
mean,
happy birthday.
thank you.
Happy.
A couple months.
That
too
wasn't a
late,
plug
that's
for my
fine.
birthday. Gosh.
Okay.
that's
Oh,
the
I
worst.
just-
That's the
Everybody
most
in the
obnoxious thing in
comments,
the world.
post
That's
happy
so-
birthday,
All
Jeremy.
right, yeah.
That was a
Happy
while
birthday.
ago.
I just
a while
remember it. I
ago.
was like, it's my birthday, and the show came out, and look at how up my alley it is. There you go.
That was a birthday present, in fact.
That's kind of how I viewed it, like Jeff Bezos gifting me.
Jeff Bezos,
It's
J.K.
Amazon, man.
Simmons, you know, just like going out of his way to do this for you.
Just
Oh,
for
it's
me.
Jeremy's birthday soon. We've
It's
got to
like,
record
oh,
the show.
You're
Yeah.
gonna record this show. Well, you know, Jeremy really likes that jazz thing that I did where I was mean to the drummer kids. So I
Yeah.
figured I'd do this
Yeah.
too.
I
I
think
did
it's,
like that. Whiplash
Jeremy
was
is
great.
Viltrumite.
Yeah.
Viltrum.
Viltrum. Yes.
From
You're a
Viltrum.
Viltrumian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good J.K. Simmons impression there, Dad.
Hey, he's
Not
got a
bad.
good one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you have to talk as flat and vanilla as possible, but with like a little bit of fatherly authority, and you just
Yeah.
J.K.
Yep.
Simmons.
Yeah.
Shout
Well, at
out
least-
Lemons.
At least for Omni-Man. So-
yeah.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm just doing Omni Man. I'm not doing JK.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons has got a. I mean, if you're gonna
Got a
do J.
little
Jameson, that's kind of a.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
J. Jonah Jameson is probably his most outlandish role that he's ever done. I can't think of anything a little. That's
What a legendary performance.
Mm.
it's a great performance. Yeah.
So good.
He usually plays it pretty close to the J.K. Simmons style, though.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, go ahead, Jared.
Boisterous.
No, this show, I think pretty clearly. I would really be curious to look at an interview or something like that from some of the people who worked on this show, because I think it borrows a lot. It pays homage. In fact, I almost know it does to the DCAU, the DC animated universe, which is like
Oh,
Batman the
100%.
animated series, Batman Beyond, Justice League Unlimited, Superman the animated series. It pays homage to it in a huge way. Some of the voice cast, they slipped in a little Mark Hamill.
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
there.
Yeah.
Seth
So
Rogen's in
there's
it.
some there's
Seth
there's a
Rogen
lot
is
of
in it.
celebrity cameos, but I think the Mark Hamill one is especially funny because of how much they're paying homage to the old DC animated series, which is like my bread and butter, like I said.
because he was the
So no.
Joker, right?
Yeah, because he was the Joker.
It almost feels like it. I didn't look this up, but like the animation studio almost feels the same. Like they're.
That's what I'm
like-
saying. That's why I feel like I don't want to go
Definitely
scroll
had
through it
style.
right now,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I feel like, man, some of the animators that worked on those old DC shows might have worked on this.
I mean,
It
it's
looks-
very Batman Forever.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that the
it
one where
has
he's an old man and there's some kid?
Batman Beyond.
Batman
Batman
Beyond. That's
Beyond.
it. Yeah, sorry.
Mhm.
Batman Forever is one of the really bad live action ones.
Batman Forever's Val
Oh, yeah,
Kilmer.
yeah, yeah.
Val Kilmer. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But no, it
man.
was really good. I mean, I liked it. I know we're jumping ahead. The voice acting's good. It's not distracting. Like there's a lot of celebrities in it, but it never feels like, I don't know. Sometimes they do animated series or TV shows and they just cast a bunch of celebrities and then it's just distracting the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, these are celebrities.
The-
It didn't
the
feel
only
that way with this one.
Stood out was probably Spock Jr.
Oh,
Junior.
as a robot,
'Cause
Zachary
right
Quinto.
away, you're like, oh yeah, that's Zachary Quinto. You know,
Mm.
but
I
I
actually
didn't
I
find it
like
it
that.
didn't
I like
bother
him,
me at
though.
all. I didn't
Yeah, I
even
didn't find it
notice that it was
distracting.
Zachary
Yeah.
Quinto. I mean,
Yeah.
But he's not really a cameo. He actually plays a character, so that's why I was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
okay with it.
also
He's
Zachary Quinto. What is he typecasted as? I mean, I don't hear Zachary Quinto and think, oh great,
Oh,
now I'm
Vulcan?
thinking about Zachary Quinto. You like the new
That's
Star
what
Trek
made him- did. So
Yeah.
There's some old DCAU OGs in this show for sure. Like this guy, Kevin Richardson. He's all over like Justice League and Batman. There's a few other ones. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can tell.
I'm
like
saying I knew it was
Yeun
Zachary
is in it,
Quinto. I
though.
didn't find it distracting though.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
It's not like I was sitting going like, oh man, that Quinto at it again with the
Zachary
robot
Quinto.
stuff.
Mhm.
Just
Yeah, it's-
seeing Spock from the 1.5 good Star Trek movies from the new generation.
1.5.
That-
I'd say 2.
Wrath of
Oh,
Khan
Solid
was,
2. Wrath of
was-
Khan.
was a halfway decent movie.
Well, it technically is Wrath of Khan. I really like Wrath of Khan.
Or not Wrath of Khan. What is it? It's
Into Darkness.
Dark something. Into Darkness.
I was gonna say I don't remember Wrath. Did they do a Wrath of Khan remake?
Yes, they did.
kinda
Yes,
But I
did.
guess they
It
did.
100% is. Yeah.
I guess
Into
Into Darkness is.
is.
I don't
That's a
mind it.
really
I
good
forgive
movie.
that.
I like that
Strangely
movie.
enough, I forgive that movie a lot of its trespasses.
It's.
The Into Darkness. A lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
I
like
don't hate it.
I
It's
think
a halfway decent Star Trek film. I enjoyed watching it. It's just that it was like okay. And then the
I-
one they did after that was literally like way too. It was.
No, no, no.
Oh, that was just terrible.
It was just
Yeah.
hokey.
I think.
Weird.
I think.
Oh,
this
that
is-
was the one.
We've
That was
talked
James
about this
Wan.
a lot on the podcast. Not to get away from Invincible for a second, but that second movie, that's a testament to how when you have really really good actors, they can pull off some not so great or completely
Sure.
copied material, right? Because Benedict Cumberbatch, you could watch that guy do
Cumberbatch,
anything.
yeah.
And it's a
Mhm.
Benedict. What is
Yeah.
his name?
Cumberbatch.
Benedict Cumberbatch. Yeah. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, you could watch him do anything, and it's great. So
Yeah.
that's what helps. Like if there was anyone else, the movie probably wouldn't have been as good, and I wouldn't have. Because even when I was like, well, they're obviously totally copying Wrath of Khan and somebody else, which is the best. Star
And they
Trek.
totally pull a fucking they literally like they pull a fast one on you too. They named it Into
They s-
Darkness. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be Wrath of Khan, and then all of a
Yeah.
sudden it's fucking Wrath of Khan. You're like, oh yeah, I've seen this movie.
Mhm.
Yeah. They didn't really give it away in the trailers
don't know.
either.
No, they didn't. Which is actually a great thing. I commend them for that. I mean, if like
Mhm.
pulling a fast one on your audience is difficult these days because of marketing departments. But
Yeah.
but back to Invincible, it
Yeah.
pulled a fast one on me, man. I mean, I knew that it was supposed to be a dark show for sure, but I watched the whole first episode and I was like, these are pretty adult themes. Like, I get it, like taking responsibility. Like, I was like, man, this is a pretty straight played superhero show, like with really adult themes as opposed to like kids themes. And like, yeah, if you're a 17-year-old trying to become a superhero, like these are probably realistic obstacles you're gonna have to overcome. And then the last 5 minutes of the first episode happened, and I was like, oh my god. I like went to
Mhm.
it was the only episode I watched that night, and I like rolled over in my bed and just like felt sick for 20 minutes and then fell asleep.
Yeah.
It was really fucking, it
was
really
heavy.
got me. Yeah. The scene, of course, we're talking about is when Omni-Man kills the Guardians of Earth or whatever they're called.
Fucking murks him.
Just
They just call them Guardians.
Nah,
the Guardians
smashes their
fucking
heads and
smash
Yeah.
it. Well, Red Rush's head. And they go out of their way right before that scene to explain that Red Rush experiences everything like at the same speed that he can move. And so like you see it from his perspective of his head getting squashed. And so it's like this like eternity of his like eye pops out and like just like, oh god, it's so fucking sickening
Yeah.
to experience that fucking from his perspective. But
That fight lets you know what you're in for.
yeah.
Like you watch the end of that episode and you're like, oh, this is no joke. Because there's a fight at the beginning of the show,
Mhm.
which is
Think
not
about
like
it.
that at all. Way less blood, way more by the numbers Justice League style fight. Like even
Yeah.
the bad guys who come back a couple times throughout the season, they're actually pretty funny.
I like
the
them a lot.
twins.
Yeah.
I think
The
it's
twins.
Nancy Brown playing them. They're really funny. But the first one's like an attack on the White House, and it's like kind of like I said, a by the numbers thing. And so they really do a good job of suckering you with that because you think that's how the fights are going to be. But then they, turns out they're this knockout, drag out, bloody mess at the end.
Mhm.
Yeah, it gets way more. I mean, it's kind of like so the boys does the same thing, but they do it way faster in the first episode. But like when you like bring superhero powers into a realistic setting and like let the physics kind of just be real, suddenly everything becomes so much more awful.
Yeah.
Which I think is like I think benefits this show a lot because the themes that it deals with are definitely very heavy on like the human toll of superheroes existing, which is a lot different from The Boys. I was actually a little worried there was going to be an animated version of it. I was like, how can you do adult superhero gruesome violence like any differently? But I'd say that they knocked it out of the park in terms of like finding their own story to tell and their own themes to kind of consider, you know, even though the backdrop is virtually indistinguishable. It's just like, what if superheroes were real and assholes?
Yeah, I guess so. But the thing, it's a little bit. I guess the difference is with this show is that the superheroes, for one thing, are a lot more nuanced. There's all kinds of different ones, and it kind of does this thing where it's about. It kind of has like a Teen Titans vibe almost for a while there, because a lot of the superheroes are also like teenagers,
Yeah.
you know. And so there's like, getting back to the Batman Beyond comparison, it kind of has like a Batman Beyond thing going on, which I kind of liked, you know, because Invincible
is a lot like Terry Maguire, yeah.
Terry McGinnis, yeah.
Terry McGinnis, sorry.
He's got like the
Is that
same
the kid that was
dynamic.
wearing the Batman suit?
Yeah.
I remember this from vaguely from when Dana. I watched it with Dana when he was little.
I loved that show. I have those.
So when I was watching this, that's what I was really reminded of, and I didn't realize until we started talking right now. That's what it was reminding me heavily of, because it's the same style of animation, the same way everyone does the voice acting is the same way.
He even has a very similar relationship with Omni-Man that
Terry
McGinnis has with Batman.
With Bruce. Yeah, because, you know, in Batman Beyond, Bruce is always telling him like, hey, you know what's important here, right? Like, you know what you signed up for, you know what's important. Like this whole girlfriend thing, it's not gonna matter long term. Like, just basically get over it. And he's always trying to like do the teenage thing and like go date this girl like Invincible. And Omni-Man's like basically saying the same thing. Like, you're a superhero, dude. Like, you don't got time for that shit. You know, like,
yeah,
go do what's important. You know, so he's always trying to balance that as well, which I really appreciated.
I am very curious, Daryl, about your thoughts. Maybe not. I know you have superhero fatigue, so I'm not expecting you to have been blown away by the show, but on its approach to the plot and whether or not you actually feel that it is maybe a breath of fresh air for the superhero medium.
No. I think The Boys, the first season of The Boys, is a breath of fresh air. I don't think this is not. I don't think this is.
Interesting.
I think it has a lot to do with the fatigue. I think it has a lot to do with I was really thrown off that I was watching Batman Beyond. That was called.
Yeah.
But uber violent.
Right.
Because it still felt like a kid's show the whole time watching it up until the last episode. The way the voices went down and everything, you know, it's that kind of stuff. Really adult themes and adult violence, but with still, and I realize that's a style. I just don't think it worked as well for me as it did for you guys, because you grew up with that and I did not. You know what I mean?
Right.
So for me, it was a little distracting. I'm like, God, this is a fucking kid show, but it's not a kid show. So that kind of kept throwing me off. I like that I'll tell you what I really liked about it. I like that the superheroes could not just beat the shit out of each other for 9 hours and nobody gets hurt. Even Omni-Man, you know, he gets hit hard enough, it's going to hurt him. And I really like that about this show.
Yes.
I think that's one thing that almost everything one of these shows is missing is these guys are too invincible. You know, I think that's the point of the show, right? He's not invincible. He's not invincible at all. He gets his ass kicked a lot. You know what I mean? Almost every episode. So that's what I really liked about the show.
I was going to say that too. The power levels are pretty consistent. You know, even the most powerful character in the whole show is not above getting his nose broken.
Yeah.
You know, like even at the end of the first.
I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, you know, what I liked is when I saw that all the Guardians were going up against Omni-Man at the end of the first episode, I kind of expected him to just mop the floor with them, and he does. But it's a brutal fight, and you know, at some point he gets his nose broken, and he gets his whole chest
almost. Yeah, he almost
and
doesn't survive.
He almost doesn't survive the fight, and that was huge for me because.
And you know that fight too, like I could gush about the choreography in that fight because you watch superhero stuff. I mean, even the fucking latest Justice League movie, and like the choreography might look really pretty and like cool in Zack Snyder's cut or whatever, but I think the reality of the situation is like there's never a sense of like really like real tactics or whatever. But in this one, like Red Rush is the only thing keeping them together because he's the only one that can keep up with Omni-Man, and he's like his whole thing is like I can perceive things faster, and it's true. He sees Omni-Man coming in, and he rushes in and moves people out of the way, and he's constantly doing that. And then he's like hitting Omni-Man no problem. He's like getting all around him, and then Omni-Man has to figure out like basically like predict where he's gonna be so he can grab him and stop him and then fucking kill him. And as soon as they lose that part of the thing, you can see that like their whole like entourage just begins to completely collapse. Like they just have no way of keeping up with his brutality, which I thought was
they
like
have their heavy hitters with the Wonder Woman character and the Superman guy, but they need their speedster to counterbalance that,
right?
When
and
they
like
lose him, well, that's the end of it.
So
one thing that I liked about it too, that which it seems strange to like this about it, but the superhero names were super generic, and I realized it didn't matter what their names were, and not just because they get killed, because of superhero fatigue. You know, we got War Woman. You know, we have. You know what I'm saying? They really
they're
did work hard.
aware.
And
I think they're aware.
And because of just even not just old guys like me, but just superhero fatigue. Period. They're probably like, we should just name them what they are. Call it that. They're gonna anyways.
And they even created an in-universe explanation where they're like, where the costume maker is like, Darkwing has dark wings. War Woman is dressed like an Amazonian warrior. Like, Red Rush has a red suit.
yeah. Which I thought was cool. For me, it was like it started off great, got tired in the middle, sagged in the middle, and I got great during the end. You know, I complain about this a lot with like stuff. I think that they make him longer than I think they make everything longer than it needs to be. This to me was not an 8-episode arc. This was a 4-episode.
Interesting.
The only episode that felt like
I really could have done without. Just felt like filler.
The one that to me felt like filler. It was the only one that really stood out to me as filler. Was the road trip.
The college episode, you mean?
Yeah, that was the only one that felt like filler to me.
Fair enough.
Because it just there was like almost no consequences to it. I still liked it. Like I liked every episode, but that was the one where I was like, that didn't move any of the story forward at all.
If
that was just
it gave us a neat little callback in the last episode with the.
It did, yeah.
With the let's try to distract Omni. I mean, you have that moment where Cecil is like, these things really gave you a run for your money, huh? And you can like see the wheels turning in his head. You're like, he's like, try to find.
These things are going to be useful. I'm taking these with me. Yeah. I think that's the only one. Every other one seemed like, and you know what? The other one that was kind of a side quest was, now that I'm looking at it, was the frickin' Gearhead arc.
Machine Head.
Machine Head.
Yeah.
Michael Weston.
Mm-hmm. Like as neat as all that stuff was, it didn't tell us anymore who we already know who Invincible is, right? He's an idealistic kid.
Right.
So that didn't help. You know,
it's set up for the next season, clearly. I mean, that one particularly is obviously set up for the next season.
Sure, because the big bad in the next season is going to be the dude that he helped.
I just feel like even with Omni-Man, I think we've pretty quickly, and not that it's some big reveal. I think we figured out pretty quickly what's really going on with him. So when we find out, we're like, okay, well, we knew that. You know, so I feel like it gives us too much time to think about it when we should just get to it quicker. You know,
I think this is a problem with.
Well, the fact that he was there to do what he was there to do, which was bring this planet into the Empire, and that where we are basically like ants to him. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I'm no smart story guy. I didn't see the Sixth Sense coming for a mile away, right? So I'm not even gonna pretend to be like super smart like that. It just felt pretty odd. Like, where else would they go with it? What else would be the reason why he would have been doing all this?
Yeah, I don't know.
I had no idea. I didn't. I really think that it was going to be.
Like, so I felt like it gave me too much time to think about it. So by the time he revealed it, I'm like, well, I kind of okay, well. Again, like I said, I think everything now. I don't understand this thing. Like when I was a kid, everything was an hour and a half, and they went out of their way to not make things 2 hours. Like Aliens was edited down, so it would be 2 hours. Everything was edited down. The original Alien was 4.5 hours for crying out loud. That would have been too much, obviously. But and now everything, even that rotten Zack Snyder zombie film, was over 2 hours. Like everything, stop making everything so goddamn long. You know what I mean? Make the quality better, not the quantity. You know, and I think
just like
this suffered the same
Kingdom
thing. If they
Hearts.
just got 4 episodes, man, they wrapped it up. That would have been great.
Well, I wonder if it's because the time commitment is not anywhere near as much. Because I mean, think about it. Like, think about going to see a 2-hour movie 10 years ago. You know, having to go to the theater. You know, there was no buying tickets online, so you had to get there. You know, and be in line and buy your tickets. You had to, you know, get there early enough so you get good seats. Like, it was a big thing. And now, like, you can just go online, get whatever seats you want, and now you're set. And then in a week when the movie starts, you just go right before the movie starts, and you go and you sit down. Like, I remember, like, going to the movies was like a huge thing. And I think just because of the way the world works now is they're like, yeah, let's make them longer, especially now that we can stream them. You don't even have to leave your house to get like decent movies now. So
I don't understand it. It's like I said, I don't, you know, it feels like they're making him longer as opposed to making him really long and then cutting him down. You know what I mean? I don't know, but it doesn't. It's not making the movies better. You know, it's making them worse, in my opinion. It's making all media worse by making everything super long and making sure we have. I mean, you better be Game of Thrones and have a very rich, long, untold history outside of the episodes, right? If you think about it, like if you're going to do 8 to 10, 12 episodes of something, you better have so much material you cannot fit it in. As opposed to this, which like it felt to me like a drug.
Yeah, I would argue that they totally did actually have enough. I mean, this is a very rich world. It felt like what I really appreciated about it was that, first of all, it starts right in the middle of, like, you know, they don't spend any time establishing that Omni-Man has like a rapport with the Guardians or anything like that. It's like you intrinsically understand that from the scene where he shows up and they're like, Omni-Man, what's going on? Oh my God, he's got to be under control or something. It's like, you know, like just like smart writing, I think, kind of tells you some of the stuff that they don't just like throw in your face, which I really appreciate, because, you know, sometimes the stuff that really bugs me about longer content is that it's just like they take way too long to establish it.
Well, especially something
that's what I was worried about. Yeah,
something that's superhero. We've seen it all at this point. We don't need to establish this anymore. We know you see him right away. You know right away some sort of Justice League, right? It's in your brain.
Yeah.
You don't need an explanation. So you're right. That's smart that they don't do this gigantic backstory between this group, and that so it'll mean more when he kills all of them. I don't think you need it. The backstory's already in your head.
Yeah. And then on top of that, the complexity of the plot, I thought, was actually far beyond the scope of what I expected the show to be, which again I appreciated. I mean, like the fact that they have the subplot with Robot getting his body back, the fact that, you know, there's teen drama between him.
That's when it started getting interesting.
Yeah, I liked that there was like clearly subversive stuff, like, you know, good guy doing bad shit stuff in this, and it's like, you know, that mystery definitely piqued my interest, along with like what the fuck is going on with Omni-Man, because like he doesn't seem like a terrible guy, you know, like every time he's on screen you're like, oh, what is he? Well, no, actually he's being kind of a good dad. Like
right.
Like
he's
I like
not
how Robot was
black
actually
and white.
Quado. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah,
that was interesting.
Total Recall. But that was,
I liked the Hellboy detective. The
Hellboy detective was great too.
I did like the Hellboy detective too.
Yeah,
I love that every time, like the people who know about him see their the icy breath, and they're like, "Fucking God damn it!"
Yeah, wanted more.
Hellboy detective again.
Yeah, and that really cheeky scene of like, "Aren't you an atheist?" He's like, "Well, theory."
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah,
but no, that actually I really like the mechanics of the universe too. It feels pretty, like, I mean, it's obviously still hammed up for animation. That's why animation kind of works for this story, but things feel like they have realistic consequences, and like even rules kind of feel legit. Like going to the Hellboy detective, the fact that they see the ice breath and then they see him, to me was kind of like, oh, like you can't, it's like a demon rule or something. Like you can't see him unless you realize that he's there, and then suddenly he's like visible to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, and it feels like a consistent rule for his type of magic. And then, you have like consistency for that kind of stuff. Omni-Man never shoots fucking laser beams out of his eyes, for example.
Thank God. He's not
Yeah.
just a complete
yeah.
Superman
Yeah.
mirror image.
Well, I thought that was funny because they have a Superman kind of
Oh yeah, the
I'm talking about
already.
Immortal.
Immortal, is that it? Yeah. No,
Yeah.
he gets his ass kicked pretty hard twice for being immortal.
Well, he's clearly like
Mhm.
maybe a tier and a half underneath Omni-Man, and he's like the closest that Earth really has to a single person that could go toe to
Yeah.
toe with him. And
He's
so it's
like-
like, yeah, of course he's gonna get his ass kicked, but he's like do damage.
he's like Highlander.
He
He
is
is
kind
like
of like
Highlander.
Highlander.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Like
Yeah.
Highlander. They even go when they go through his history. It's like he obviously has a very long Earth history, right? This is where he's from, and it's very Highlander-esque, which I thought was pretty cool too. Being
Yeah.
fan of the Highlander.
Yeah. I actually I love I love the scene when Immortal gets brought back to life and he's just like no holds barred, like
First thing else.
Yeah.
it
Jet
was
up.
so good. That was like, I mean, that was, to your point, Daryl, like some of the voice acting definitely felt very DC Universe and maybe a little less intense as a result, because I think DC Universe tends to like maybe not have as realistic voice acting. It's like more whimsical in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if it would this whole, not that this was bad or anything. I wonder if it worked better for someone like myself, who, if it didn't have, because like I said, the whole time, even up to the end, it felt like a kid's cartoon with violence and cussing. You know what I mean? And it was hard to
Mhm.
shake that for me. Where I wonder if they'd play that, but I mean that's the style they're going for. So good for them.
Right.
And it
Right.
worked for you guys because you grew up with that. And I think that's who the real audience is you guys grew up with this style of cartoon storytelling, and now this is the grown-up version of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I didn't grow up with that. I watched a couple times with Dana, and I said, well, this is neat, but not really my thing, you
Mhm.
know? So, because I wasn't a kid.
And
I
what's funny is if you ever watch any of the interviews with the dudes like Paul Dini or Bruce Timm, or like the guys who developed those old cartoon shows, they were constantly butting heads with the studio, because I think this show is probably what they always had envisioned.
Yeah, right.
Like the studio is constantly telling them the show is too violent. Batman Beyond got censored a bunch of times, I guess.
Really?
And they actually had a lot more blood in there originally.
Yeah.
And
It
then
makes
when
sense.
they,
I mean, his parents get murdered by a gang of raving Joker acolytes.
yeah,
right?
like there's some adult themes in there. And then if you watch like the feature film, they were able to get a PG-13 rating, and so you see there's a little bit more blood and there's a little bit more combat.
Is that Return of Joker?
Yeah, Return of the Joker.
Yeah.
And the Joker assaults Bruce Wayne pretty brutally. But it's, when I'm watching this, I'm like, this is probably what they always wanted to do.
Yeah.
They probably always wanted to do something that was more adult. And I think they always had their hands tied by a studio who was trying to tell them, hey, this is a kid's show.
Well, what I actually couldn't help but feel watching this show was something that that I think I talked to Danon about, which is that like this is what I think Brightburn was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good point.
Brightburn was all about like, what if Superman was evil?
Yeah, what a
And
great
like they
idea.
made it like weird and they made it like a
Terrible
thriller or a
execution.
horror film.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like I don't know, like it didn't really seem to work from the angle
Yeah.
that they did it. But this I feel like was 10 times more horrifying, because like first of all, we see Omni-Man destroy an entire planet
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, during the course of the show, so we know he can do it.
And this is even better than The Boys in the sense that, because The Boys does the same thing, but the thing about now I'm forgetting his name. Who's
Homelander.
Homelander. The thing about Homelander is he is a little bit one-dimensional compared to Omni-Man, because
absolutely.
Homelander is just a straight narcissist. He's straight up evil. He's a straight up narcissist. He's lying through his teeth the whole time. Omni-Man is a murderer,
Feels conflicted.
but you know, he feels
Yeah.
conflicted, and he is trying. You see him being a dad, like a real
Yeah.
dad who really cares about his son, and is actually a family man, or you know, and so he is a lot more this, you know, cartoon with Omni-Man compared to Homelander is a lot more three-dimensional of a character. You
Yeah.
know, so I
Because
feel like
Omni-Man
this is
his reveal wasn't "I've been evil this whole time." Hoo ha ha ha. You know what I mean? It
right.
wasn't that.
Yeah.
It was his reveal was that, well, I'm still, and I do love you, but this is what I'm here to do. You know?
Right.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
the
You're
timetable
either in
argument
it,
was really
you're with me or
interesting.
you're against
Yeah.
me. You know?
It was, I
Mhm.
mean, the whole like you're gonna waste. What are you gonna do in 500 years when everybody you know and love is dead? You know, and I thought that was
Yeah.
like it's not even a fraction of your lifetime what you're fighting for. It's like, you know, sure, it's evil to us as you know puny little fucking humans, but like you can empathize with the perspective of like he's kind of not super wrong in the sense that like yeah it probably shouldn't matter once you have enough years under your belt like these
Yeah, this can be a
people
blip.
yeah it's like
Yeah.
you know somebody for 5 years and you're 50 it's like that's not really that long of a time to have known them. I guess it's the same thing for this, so
Yeah, and it also kind of helps give a little bit of context because earlier in the show, he'll say stuff and do things like when Invincible first tells him, "Hey, I'm going to help this guy with this small thing, like this small timer, and we're going to like help clean the streets up and get this gangster." And Omni-Man's like, "What are you doing? Like that is such a waste of time." And you're like, "Aren't you supposed to be a superhero?" But you know, you like when you find out how old he is, he's like, "That is like Daryl said, it's a blip."
mhm.
But it's not just that,
And
and
in
he's
the
also
yeah. Plus, he
in
has
the
a
big picture of things. He's
yeah,
like,
big
dude,
picture means nothing.
this is
You know?
such a waste of your time. You don't know how long you're going to live, you know, which I
Yeah.
appreciated.
Yeah, we live for thousands of years. Like your
Yeah.
mom was nice, but she's like a pet to me.
It's brutal when she says when
Mm.
he says that about her.
know.
Like and she's like, you know, a pet. Like he almost feels bad about. He's like, he's like,
It's like, look, I love her, but like, yeah, I mean, it's the whole humans are elves to dogs argument, right? It's like,
right.
like we have all this fantastical, like impossible to understand technology, and dogs exist for like a third of our lifetime at most, and all that shit's like very, very similar to his
brutal.
perspective of humans. He's like, you're not even gonna come close to living as old as me. I guess that's
Yeah.
why elves in fiction have to be, at least high elves, right? They kind of have to be benevolent, because otherwise it's like, yeah, how could they possibly empathize with
No.
humanity's struggles? Even the benevolent ones in like Lord of the Rings are like, I mean, look, I love the Numenor as much as the next guy, but
Yeah, we're gonna go over here and live forever. So later, dude.
it's
We're
like,
all
yeah.
leaving.
Yeah, exactly. And then fucking Elrond gives his daughter like fucking an elvish scolding. He's like, you can fucking be mortal.
Elvish scolding.
Elvish scolding.
Elvish scolding
Fucking
is playing up
waste
the
your
radio, dude.
immortality to be with this fucking human king.
I know.
He's not even an elven king.
How could they even give up their mortality? Immortality. I don't understand. Probably shouldn't
Doesn't
get into
she?
this
She
right now,
gives
but-
up her like her
Well,
little
but that
jewel. or
how
whatever.
does that give it up?
It's
not
magic,
in the
Daryl,
jewel.
fuck's sake.
It's within.
I want
It's like
answers.
I'm giving them to you. They can give up. Any elf can give up their immortality by just sheer will, and so that was kind of like a physical showing of the sheer will that she was willing to give up her immortality from.
I mean,
There you go.
that's super hot, dude. Like,
Yeah, I'd fuck her.
well,
Are we live?
Well,
So
I mean, he did name his hamster after. Arwen,
I did,
so,
yeah.
Did
And my
you?
password for a long time was Arwen123.
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
very strong password.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a terrible password, but Arwen's a very strong woman, so it's gotta be a strong password.
yeah. That password is gonna work forever.
You could talk to water.
Immortality.
Get it? Because she's no, it only
Immortal.
works
Get it?
regular human
Alright.
life.
Well, I don't use it anymore.
Is that wait?
it's
So is that
immortal.
how Elf Will works? Like, was she able to turn the water into horses by just convincing it?
No, that's
using her
that's a
willpower?
spell. No, that's a spell. That's it.
Horse water, you know.
See, well, that's what she's saying. She's in Elvish. She's like, "Turn into horse's water. I believe in you." And the horse, like the water's like, "Wow, she's got so much will." Yeah, we will turn.
Will.
I wasn't going to, but she's really selling it.
This is pretty good. All right, yeah, I'll turn it. I'll turn into a horse.
It's so convincing. I think I'm in a
So
horse.
convincing. Yeah. But I am a bit concerned about where the show goes from here, because I don't want to. I mean, I don't know how you keep it as. Well, I mean, for me, it was definitely a very gripping show. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta know, like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen next, or like, holy shit, like I was really like, it kept my attention the entire time.
Well, yeah, what I like is they leave the door open for a lot, right? Like, Hellboy's gonna come back.
Mhm.
He left his little notebook, so there's that. Omni-Man's
Necronomicon.
Yeah, I want
Omni-Man's
a
coming
notebook
back
with a
in
face on
season
it.
2. It's gonna have the big Viltrumite. It's
Yeah.
gonna be the big Viltrumite showdown, probably gonna happen sometime in season 2. And I don't know. There's a bunch of other stuff that gets. They did a good job of setting up a season 2.
Right. There's definitely stuff that can happen, but like in terms of the intrigue of the show, I'm just kind of concerned, because like that was the thing that really got me, was the intrigue, even with the dramatic irony, right, of knowing that Omni-Man's the murderer and seeing it unfold for other people and like all that stuff. Was very gripping for me. So now that we've had that revealed, which I think is a good thing. I mean, it's not going to fall apart like Lost, right, where it's just like mystery after mystery after mystery, hopefully. But I have some concerns that like season 2, there's going to be a Viltrumite showdown where there's like multiple Viltrumartians, and like they're just not going to be able to like keep their power levels the same as Omni-Man's, right? Like you can't have, like, there's no way. Or I mean, 2 Omni-Mans would completely destroy the planet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, between season 1 and season 2, Invincible's got to get leveled up tremendously.
I mean, if he's gonna fight another Viltrumite, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. I guess that's the thing about it, is like I don't really. They made it pretty clear, like no one can actually stop Omni-Man. Nothing can stop him. So
they almost got him. If what's his face, if Invincible didn't show up and try to kill the Cthulhu monster,
the kaiju,
then I think that may have been able to do it, because Omni-Man did look like he was on the ropes there.
That's right.
Ass kicked. Although he beats the shit out of beats up that $4 billion thing that
Cecil
shoots lasers.
That was
satellite. Remember when the satellite gets in the
$400 billion
nosebleed. So
nosebleed.
I remember what those floaty things were called in the sky.
But I mean, if you think about it, yeah, Omni-Man fighting the Cthulhu monster, and then also Invincible showing up as, or not Invincible, Immortal showing up as well. They have the same name. That's weird.
Yeah,
kind of.
If then the Immortal shows up too, I feel like Omni-Man would have been probably pretty toast.
That's possible. Yeah,
because I think the kaiju is maybe like a tier below Omni-Man.
The juiced out kaiju.
That was like one tier below, and then you've got Immortal, who's like a tier and a half below. They would have taken them out together.
But they're they're reanimating all the Guardians. Did you catch that?
I did see. Well, they're at least reanimating Invincible or Immortal. I didn't see the other ones getting reanimated.
No, I said there's the Martian. They're reanimating the Martian. They're doing them all.
Interesting.
Bringing them all.
I love that they were like, well, that's actually smart what they did with the Martians then, because like the Martian would be a severely underpowered superhero if there was a planet of him that existed. So they just had one of the plot threads be that the entire planet gets destroyed by the facehuggers.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I'm sure will.
That was a little bit of a side quest too.
I didn't like that episode all that much.
The Mars thing, it was a bit of.
That's a bit of a filler episode. I could see that.
I genuinely enjoyed those.
One thing I did like about this show was one thing I really liked was Cecil, the head of the GPA, whatever the fuck it was.
The GPA,
So I liked that guy's motivations, because he wasn't just like the bad, military dude who's like in charge of everything, but he's like he's actually a very smart character. Like um, he makes a couple mentions to it, but he's like, yeah, I never was able to get Omni-Man as a part of the Guardians of the Globe, you know. And he's like always wanted to. He was like the wild card, you know. And that's
Yeah.
a smart move on his part because he can't control Omni-Man at all if he can't put tabs on him. If he's not in the Guardians of the Globe, he can't do it as well. And we kind of learn a little bit later why. It was when he banishes Damien Darkblood is because he doesn't want the secret of Omni-Man to get out because he needs to know how to kill him first. And that's a very important thing.
Right.
He knows how powerful Omni-Man is and how dangerous he is, and he's doing all this so he just as a backup, just in case. And so he's like really the only person. He's like the Count Dooku of sorts. You know, not a lot of
Yeah.
people like him, but he's actually the only one that knows what's going on.
Yeah,
you know, and he's trying to get a hold on this. So I liked his entire
one-dimensional.
Yeah, his storyline was great, and Walter Goggins is fantastic as Cecil. I like Walter Goggins.
Yeah.
I'll watch him.
He
Anything.
had that signature air of superiority.
Mm-hmm.
Like Count Dooku does.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
The signature superiority. No, I mean, actually, you're right, and they highlight that really well in the last episode where Debbie's like, "This is why I hate you," or "This is why I've always hated you."
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, "This is why I hate myself," but also like, we have to fucking kill Omni-Man. Like, I can't. The planet is my responsibility, not your son.
Yeah.
Which is
Right.
like fucking legit, dude. I mean, like in his shoes. I mean, like it's interesting because like the other superheroes often have to deal with the toll of like humans dying. You know, and you see some of them dealing with that and like how it affects them individually. But then like Cecil also has to deal with that exact same thing. So he's just a normal human with like who's in charge of the entire fucking GDA like military. So he's like, sometimes you gotta bomb a fucking city, man. I mean, like if Omni-Man's in it, like what are you gonna do? You gotta fucking stop him. Like that's
Right.
acceptable casualties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that they talking about scope, they really kind of they don't let you forget that people are dying left and right. Like innocent people are dying constantly.
They do a great job of reminding you.
They don't let you forget it. Like the first time Invincible has to go out on his own to try and fight those
They're talking about the aliens?
Oh,
the
those,
aliens,
like, aging aliens, yeah. The Flaxons.
The Flaxons, and innocent people are just getting shot and killed all around him, and he cannot keep up because he's one dude.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, this is how it would really go. If you were one guy, it doesn't matter how fast you are. There's a whole crowd of its whole city of innocent people, and they're getting shot at. There's a bunch of people dying left and right.
And even Omni-Man is like, yeah, man. I mean, that's part of the job.
It's part of the gig.
Even Omni-Man is clearly people die on my watch, you know.
Right. No one can save everyone. And I like that he goes so far out of his way to just try and save the one person, and they still end up dying.
That
the old woman.
Yeah. And they show that too, that wider shot of her in the crater, and I think her arm's gone and her legs all fucked up. Yeah, she's done. She's done.
In bad shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one of the things I really liked about it too, is because like you don't really get that a whole lot in superhero movies. They did it with Marvel.
They don't.
They did it in after the second Avengers movie with the Soviet Accords, you know, and trying to rein superheroes in, and that was all of Civil War, which I thought was great. Like one thing they don't show enough is like basically superheroes fighting is akin to a natural disaster. You know, it's like the thousands of people that would die in Loki's invasion of New York. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like the 3,000 people died when the Twin Towers fell, you know? And so like this is all of New York is being invaded by aliens. Everybody would be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's only 7 people that run in and try to stop them, you know? It's insane. And so they really touch on that with this show. They do it a little bit with The Boys, but it was a lot more pointed. You know, it was more like Homelander's purposely letting people die. Whereas in this show, like there's a lot of collateral damage. And they show it all. You know, it's maybe not so important to show it, but it's important to acknowledge that fact that like, yeah, a lot of innocent people are going to die just because we exist, you know, which is
right. Just because we're doing what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like people are dying left and right. And then at the end, they actually flip that on its head, and it's like, yeah, people are dying left and right, and also I don't care because and they contrast that with
Like,
Invincible.
why should I care? Yeah.
Towards the beginning of the show, where he is going so far out of his way to just save the one old lady, and she still dies. And then at the end of the show, he's like, "Yeah, lots of people die, and also you shouldn't care about any of them." It's pretty. I don't know. I like that contrast is cool. And even the thing about Marvel, those Marvel movies, is they're Disney, right? So
I mean, you're not going to a Marvel movie to watch people die for
Right.
sure.
No, you're not. And they have no ability to like do that train scene or that subway scene or any of that.
Oh my
kind of
god,
stuff.
dude, that subway scene was so fucking brutal. Where he just like
Oh.
runs through a bunch of people. He's like,
My
maybe
jaw
you'll
dropped.
understand if you like.
Yeah,
That's
my
like
jaw dropped when that happened. I
shoving
was
your
like, I
dog's
can't-
nose into its own poop when it poops on the ground. That's basically
honestly
what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing this. But it was effective, I thought. But that's something that, and I guess even Zack Snyder, like the Dark Knight, or not Dark Knight, Dawn of Justice sort of touched on that too, with all the people dying as a result of the Superman fight. But nothing like this. I've never seen it like this before.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to keep going? Do you have stuff to go over? Or do you want to give ratings?
I think we can give ratings. Yeah, I feel like
I'm ready for ratings.
Yeah.
I'll go first. I didn't talk too much this episode because I was very lukewarm on this entire show. I had this headcanon before I started watching it. I thought that and I thought this would have been better. I would have liked the story much more. Where Omni-Man goes and kills the Guardians of the Globe because they are turning into the boys. Like Homelander or not the boys themselves. That
Oh, interesting.
So they start to get full of themselves, and they start to get airheaded, and it becomes a corporation that they're running. And so he goes in there, and he's like, "You guys are
still
done."
Is the good guy.
Yeah, he's still the good guy. Anybody, he makes the tough decisions, which I would have liked to seen. And then that doesn't happen, and like from the get go, they basically they make it out to be something else. And I was like, okay, well. Damn, I really liked my idea. And so I, watching the show, like I think the pacing was very, very strange, especially the first episode.
It was written by 100 different people and directed by 100 different people too. And I think that's a problem I was noticing too, is it felt really all over the place. And if you watch, every episode's got different writers, different directors, different people. And that is hard to maintain continuity.
Yeah. Well, the first episode... Yeah, the first episode itself is just like, man, I can't wait till I have powers. Oh, I have powers now. Like it was like that, and then he's
almost felt like the entire Sky High arc.
Dude,
just in
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It felt like
yeah,
Sky High, but in one episode, because he goes through the whole thing of, oh man, I'm a late bloomer, I don't have powers, and then I get power, but like all in just the one episode.
It happens in 10 minutes. Like it's nuts. Yeah. So in some ways, I do appreciate that they just kind of like get on with it, but I do like origin stories. So for me personally, I was like, I wanted to see him become, the superhero. Like it raised a lot of questions in my head because I was like, was he always just immortal or like invincible like this? And he could take a punch? Obviously not, because he gets his ass kicked by the bully, but then also his dad socks him in the solar plexus. So like he just like I was asking too many questions because it happened so quickly.
Yeah, because out of nowhere he gets his ass kicked. Next thing you know, he's throwing a trash can 300 miles.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like,
so it's just like,
okay, yeah, I guess we're just not.
Well, I think it was like a puberty thing, right? Like,
but it's still.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but you didn't sprout hair on your nuts overnight.
You don't know that.
That's true. Ben is pretty hirsute. But I mean, like, I think of all the uninteresting. All the uninteresting stuff, the teenage drama stuff that happened in those middle episodes, this would have been more interesting.
I like the teenage drama stuff. I would thought it was fine, but
I just couldn't tell with that. I was really exhausted from it.
Can I just say one thing?
No.
You can't.
Her whole thing is bullshit. Where she's like, okay, when he finally tells her, because that's the whole thing, right? He's trying to tell. How do I tell her that? Is it too soon to tell her that I'm invincible? Blah blah blah.
That was bullshit.
When he finally tells her, she's like, yeah, I know. I was like, bullshit. You knew.
I know the whole time. I was just testing. It was like, fuck
no.
I didn't say something.
She's all mad when he comes, okay, when they're on the college campus, and then he comes back and he's like, "Hey guys, I just got help," and she's like, "Where were you?" Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
If
That
you
doesn't
were
really
supposed to
track.
have known at that point, then why are you mad at him? He just fucking saved the whole college
He's done
campus
for weeks apparently.
Yeah. So
It was all a test, Jeremy, for him to prove his love. It's like
that made me
shut up,
mad.
Joe.
I wish that
But
she.
I was it was
didn't
Zazie
know.
Beats though, so I was okay with it.
Didn't
Do you like me some
like
Zazie
that.
Beetz? Yeah, that was dumb. But
Yeah.
but so what were we
Well,
talking
I'll
about?
give my
I
I'll give
your
my
idea.
rating.
I actually like your idea way better, Danon. That would have been
See,
a way
that's
better.
the thing. I don't know where I got this headcanon from, but it was like, man, if he goes there and like puts heroes in their place, kind of, and almost recycles the hero idea, and was more of a savior of that, that would have been a much more interesting gray
Mhm.
area. Because I mean, I like Omni-Man as he was. He's like Viltrumite. Is that it? Is that the term, Viltrumite?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're there to colonize worlds, and that's it. So he goes in and basically becomes the lord of the world. He's the emperor of Earth. And he has to kill everybody that's going to get in his way, which is kind of cool. And he does it in a very gray storytelling way, where you like him and you like him on screen and all that stuff. But also, like, I just couldn't get rid of that idea. I was just like, man, if he was just going in there to like actually save Earth, from all these assholes that are just
Mhm.
like, they get propped up on their own.
Like as if Omni-Man killed. Who are they in the boys? There's a name for them. They're not the Guardians.
The
What
Seven.
are they
By
called?
the 7.
The Seven.
Mhm.
Like if Omni-Man just killed the Seven, you'd be
Yeah.
like, well, good.
You'd be like, oh,
Omni-Man's
that's
a good guy.
awesome. Yeah, okay, this is a
Yeah.
good guy. He does kill people, and he murders people,
Right.
but he's doing it because he actually cares about what he does. I thought that would have been a very cool idea. And so now he's raising his son to do kind of that similar thing. So this is very Dexter in a way, because Dexter, has this urge to kill people and this need to kill people, and so he takes it out on serial killers and
Right.
drug kingpins and stuff like that, which is kind of cool, because you're like, okay, I can still root for you even though you're a terrible human being and you
Mhm.
murder people and take trophies and stuff, but he's still the guy I want to see on screen. So I don't know, I just had that idea and I couldn't get rid of it, and I don't know, it kind of, I don't know where it came from, but I wanted to see that show instead. But
Really quickly, I just want to say that's another problem I'm realizing now too with Omni-Man's whole story, is if he was just there to colonize, if you will, or bring it into the empire, why would he waste all this 20 years? He just would have gone in and done this. It made
Yeah.
no sense for him to come in and get the wife and the kid and everything, just to abandon that all at the end. I know they kind of explained it like it's a pet or whatever, but if that was his job, somebody would have been like, dude, it has been 20 years. What the fuck have you been doing this whole time? Colonize this bitch and come home, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then by the time he reveals it, you're like, well, why didn't you just do this 20 years ago?
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So you spent 20
yeah.
years having a family and a son and everything, but it didn't change you.
You wanna
It didn't
know why?
change your
You want to know why? So the show could happen.
yes.
Oh, that works.
Oh,
There you
good
go.
point.
Yeah,
Okay.
that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the show could happen.
But the other funny thing about it is that if it's about colonizing, I assume that other Viltrumites come and they colonize together, right? They colonize these planets.
Well, they said
Right,
that they're
if I'm getting this right.
so spread out that they, because they used to just go but after doing thousands of planets, they got spread out. They ran out of
Right.
people to do this, so they started sending people one at a time, just like, hey, you go handle this planet, and whenever you get it done is whenever you get it done, which explains the time, right? But seriously, he's so
Okay.
powerful. He could have it would have been an hour, dude. Right? He would have whipped
Right.
Earth into shape in an hour, especially 20 years previous, because the only reason that they've developing all these weapons is because of Omni-Man and all these are superheroes,
Mhm.
which I guess we don't know how long superheroes have been around at this point. But well, they've been around for hundreds of years, obviously, even thousands, because
War Women
Because of the
is
Immortal.
very old.
And
Kill Man, yeah, can't kill Man
Immortal.
been around forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't kill man. No, so I
'Cause I
think
guess-
I guess probably as part of his strategy was like, I'm going to like get into their ranks, because I think he actually wanted to convince humanity that like being part of Viltrum was like the business. And so it seemed to me like he was probably trying to become like an icon and get it done. And
But he doesn't reveal that in his reveal.
well, I think he kills the Guardians, and he's just trying to like. I think what he was trying to do is basically like get rid of everybody that's like super strong, like slowly and like sort of just. I think his plan basically just backfired on him, is what I'm trying to say. I think he was like, like if I kill the Guardians, that'll be like something that I don't have to fucking worry about. Like, and then like I can try to slowly bring everybody together around me. And then like I can be like, hey, by the way, Viltrum's super cool. You guys super lame, but if you join Viltrum, then that would be super cool. And like he was convinced that people would be super like he was convinced that people would be for that, which I think is part of the flaw of his character, right? He's like, Viltrum's awesome. Everybody should think Viltrum's awesome. If they don't, like fucking whatever. Couple generations.
Why wouldn't you want to be ruled by me?
Right.
Why wouldn't you want to be like, you know, you're obviously better off with me. And I've proven it. You're better off with me. Right? I save your planet all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it was. I think it was let's get rid of the competition really quick, because it's like that's a fucking Tuesday night for him.
And it was
right?
never planned for, even though he probably didn't plan on passing out the way he did, he probably was always trying to make it look like someone else killed them.
That right. I think he was just gonna. I think he was literally trying to rally everybody around him. Was probably the initial plan.
Yeah, but because enough people suspected him.
Right.
Yeah, which would make sense. I mean, yeah, if that's the story, that would make a lot more sense and why he's there for so long. Because he's, I was looking it up on Wikipedia, and he's sent there to infiltrate Earth. A very specific word that they use.
Yeah.
You know, so that would make a lot more sense, and the time frame that he's there. And it would make, I think that would make it more interesting, because they're not there to just wipe out. You know, he could have done what he did to the Flaxons. You know, he destroyed the Flaxon world. Like he murdered everybody. And
I guess he didn't destroy it because they are shown in the end credits, but he definitely left a fucking mark.
Oh yeah.
He crippled them. He crippled a planet.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, they did come back 3 times in a week, so
they kind of had it coming.
They absolutely, that was some like, you know, return to sender shit, but but still, like, yeah, his power is frightening, and so I think if his intention was to just get rid of humanity, then it would have been a very different thing. But they're probably, I think that there's kind of an implication that like this is an issue because like people rebel against them, and then they're like, fuck, blow up the planet. I guess like it seems like it's a real inconvenience for them. Maybe not not maybe not more than an inconvenience, but it's still an inconvenience for them to be trying to control worlds, and then they rebel, and they're like, okay, I guess we're just gonna blow this planet up. Like that's not salvageable.
Right.
And so maybe that's kind of their thing, is they don't want to actually blow up planets. They want people to worship them like the gods that they think that they are. And in order to do that, you need to like have a good rapport with the population by being a superhero. You are better off with me. I've proven it. Now worship me. Damn it.
Yeah. I think that's exactly his attitude.
What's your rating, Dana?
I give it a 6 out of 10, and the only reason I give it a 6 is because I was actually very entertained watching it. Like I watched it all last night. I started at maybe like 7, and I stopped.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I actually haven't. I still have 2 more episodes, but I got the gist of everything. So yeah, 6 out of 10. Bumped up just because it was so entertaining. But I was not blown away by it. I wasn't blown away by the writing or the characters or the plot or anything else. Hey, Liz. Welcome back. What's up?
Hey, Liz.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. So yeah, that's my rating. Just 6 out of 10.
Right on.
Give it a 5.
5?
I'll give it a 5. Yeah, it was all right. You know.
Yeah.
I was kind of, like I said, I was pretty bored during the middle part of it. It started getting good towards the end, like I said, when Quado showed up, robot had
right.
That all started. I like all that kind of crap too, you know, where you have a character that's not completely good, and they got their bad stuff about him too. I can't think of the smart words for it. But now, you know, they're not entirely benevolent.
I also love everybody's reaction to the reveal. Where it's like, yeah, I went and did this thing, and they're like, "Oh my god, what the fuck is wrong with you? You fucking weirdo!"
Yeah, he's like, "You're not. You guys aren't stoked."
I thought this would be a great.
This is so cool, though.
I thought this would be a great idea. No,
yeah.
I let these guys out of jail for it. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, well, I tried to send him back.
But if we weren't watching for the podcast, I wouldn't have watched it.
Fair enough.
I could tell you that right now.
I
That
would have
crossed
watched
my
it.
radar.
Yeah, I would have watched it
so-
anyway, but
Yeah, I liked it. I would give this an 8.5 probably out of 10. A strong 8 to light 9, I guess.
ooh, a light 9.
Yeah, I think it
Heavy
was
8, light 9.
I think it was really well done. I think I didn't have a problem with the pacing. It feels like a superhero show that has more adult themes and takes itself a bit more seriously, which is something that I wanted. I guess I have a problem relating to like Young Justice and stuff because it's very much kids writing from my perspective, to Daryl's point. But this, I don't know if it's just the same exact writing, but now there's blood and curse words, and now I'm like, oh yeah, adults or whatever. But it kept my attention a lot more. I felt like the show was really well executed. I feel like I understood what they were trying to say, and I think that the production quality and the acting was like spot on. So yeah, absolutely recommend it.
One thing I do want to say really quick before you give your rating, Jared, is Titan storyline with Machine Head and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I did like how that ended. How he
That was a good
installs
setup.
himself as the Kingpin,
Yeah.
instead of being like he definitely did play Invincible, like 100% from the
Yeah.
beginning,
That was a
which
total
I thought
ploy.
was really cool.
And Omni-Man was right. Actually,
Omni-Man
Omni-Man
was
totally
100%
called it.
Yeah,
You're gonna learn a very painful lesson here, kiddo.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that when he like the dude that disappears and stuff, I can't remember his name, but he's like calls him boss, and then it like pans over and he's wearing a suit which he just happened to have that fits his Titan body, and then he like unstones himself. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, this guy, like, he wanted something better for his family, and so he went out and forcefully took it, and now he's just gonna run this criminal empire now, which I thought was pretty cool. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, I give it like an 8.5 as well. This was kind of like what I had wanted for a long time. It's, I think, Daryl, you're probably right that this show is probably for people that are kind of grew up watching those old DC animated shows in the late 90s, early 2000s. And that, that's totally me. Like, those are some of my favorite shows growing up. And I think the pacing I thought was
going to mean more to you.
Yeah,
I think it's going to mean more to you because of that. Where I don't have the history with it.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, and it does.
So
it harkens back to that a lot, but it's adult. The pacing I thought was fine. You brought up Young Justice, Ben. That was a show that I think is horrendously paced. I like I like parts of Young Justice, but man, it was really hard for me to get through. And this actually has a lot of Young Justice vibes to it because there's sort of the teen thing going on. But I thought this was okay. There's some that felt like filler episodes, but even those ones I still enjoyed. Like, they were entertaining. The voice acting was really good. I liked all the little celebrity cameos. I didn't think that they were too distracting. There was like the Seth Rogen one, there was the Mark Hamill one. There's all these like little ones that are in there that I thought were fun.
I think Dan Harmon is in there.
Dan Harmon. Is that Rick Sanchez?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like drinking. He's like drinking and belching like Rick Sanchez. I thought it was a funny little nod to Rick and Morty. So yeah, no, I liked it a lot. And the mystery for me, I guess the mystery was intriguing for me the whole time. I didn't quite figure it out. I didn't really know what to make of it, but I appreciated that we know this guy's a bad dude from day one. But then we spend the rest of the episode seeing him be kind of a good guy. Like, he's still a superhero and he's still a dad. We know he's bad. We know he murdered those superheroes. So I thought that was a cool little mystery that they kept going on. And I like the world. I was afraid that this was going to take way too long to establish the world, and it didn't. It all felt natural by the end of it. So no, I liked it. It out of 10, 8.5 maybe, somewhere in there. Season 2, I don't know if it'll be as good.
Yeah, I have.
I'm not sure.
I'm concerned about season 2 just based off of
it might
what
be
I liked about season 1.
Boys situation.
Yeah,
I hope not, but it might be a little situation like The Boys.
Well, I'm hoping to be impressed by season 2 as well. I don't know how they could possibly recapture what made this show good for me.
I don't know. One thing I wanted to say that kind of annoyed me, and this is just the thing with like motion graphics, is they used a lot of CG
Yeah.
to supplement like a lot of the animation, or I guess the standard animation. But the problem is that they didn't stick to either a smooth 24 frames per second CG, or they went the 12 frames, and it was like they animated on the ones and twos. So that was very jarring to me. So like a good example is, I think, one of the episodes where they're in space and it's that spaceship and it's got that rotating thing that was animated
yeah.
on the ones and twos, or on the twos. And then a lot of everything else, like cars and then any kind of like dolly shots, truck ins, truck outs, that was all animated on the ones. And so they were a lot smoother. And so it's very weird because it's unless they do it really, really well, you can pretty much always tell that there's a CG element in an animated piece because it just looks very different in terms of the perspective. And so when I was watching cars and stuff come in and they're smooth and they're animated on the ones, I was like, whoa, okay, well, the show's not animated on the ones, the show's animated on the twos. And it was really weird. And then you get to those other bits of CG that are animated on the twos, and so they fit the style more. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can get behind this. And then they go again with the smooth, like you see them a lot around the high school, as when they're panning around or trucking in or trucking out, or any of these camera movements. It's like, wow, that's very smooth.
Yeah,
And there's perspective shifts, and so it's just like, whoa, okay, it was very jarring. I don't know, it was just a little thing that, like, every time that happened, I was like, oh god, okay, well, I'm sitting in my living room again.
I was reading that they were really distracted by the frame rates, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't realize what had happened either.
Yeah.
So you're explaining it right
Yeah,
now.
that was it.
I was like, why does this feel so weird all the time?
Yeah, so I think it's fine if you stick to one for your CG. Totally fine. They do it in anime now all the time. Like the Titans in Attack on Titan are now all CG elements.
Yeah.
But they stick to they stick to the rule, So if they're going to animate on the ones, it's always going to be animated on the ones. It's going to be very smooth 24 frame, animation. Or conversely, like you have I think Titan AE, that movie with oh fuck, what was the guy? Yeah, what was the guy that animated it? John Bluth? Or is that the guy that was in Don Bluth? Okay, I was getting that guy mixed up with the Arrested Development. But like that movie, that was also animated on the ones too. So all their CG elements are very smooth, and then they have these animated characters on the twos, and it made sense for the world. And so it was very, very, very jarring to watch that. And like I said, it would like brought me out of it every time I saw it, and I was just like sitting on my bed, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm covered in cracker dust. And then I would get back into the show again. I'm like, oh, okay.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a problem in a lot of anime, actually. And so I think I was just more prepared for it because there's much more egregious examples that Jeremy, you've been exposed to from Anime Night all those years ago.
Actually, yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like watching this show, you know what anime I was really reminded of, that because of the blips that you're talking about, Danon, was Fate Zero.
Fate Zero, yeah.
Fate Zero is pretty bad about that, where the CG anime styles sort of clash in the action scenes a lot, and it is a little bit jarring. Fate Zero is way worse, but
it
I'm
breaks
talking about,
the rules so much more. Yeah,
it's all over the place, and you kind of get used to it, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, I think that's what I'm saying is that because I've been exposed, and I like Fate Zero a lot.
Yeah,
it's a good show, and I think that's what saves it because there's some like questionable animation decisions. But as a result of like gritting my teeth through that animation, now it's like I watch this and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a CG high school building with CG people walking around. But like my brain has just started to choose to ignore that stuff because it's like, I get it, it's animation, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't watch anime. They're fighting in the trying to get an aesthetic out of their animation that is kind of comic booky, but also, like I said, that harkens back to older shows,
right?
That are with older, more traditional animation style. They're trying to get that aesthetic out of it, but they're doing way more complex stuff in terms of animation. In terms of like the physics of it with the fights, it's just the scope of things. And so I feel like they're trying to juggle a lot, right? They're trying to have that old kind of art style from the 90s and early 2000s that seems familiar, you know, like
Mhm.
Batman the animated series. But they're also they have this huge scope in terms of action and all that stuff that they can't accomplish without some of the more like obvious CG elements.
Well, and CG is like an absolutely cost-effective way to do certain like scene transitions and things like that. I mean, that's why it's so prevalent in anime. Like, if you're not a main character in anime, there's like a 90% chance that you're a CG character, and that's I think what trained me, because I watch a lot of anime, to like ignore it, is because I'm not even supposed to look at it. Like, it's just set dressing, so it's like it's a CG character, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's I'm clearly not looking at like the 20 same faced characters. I'm looking at the dude with like the fucking ridiculous orange hair and the girl who's got a school uniform that doesn't match any of the other school uniforms.
Right.
And shit like that. Right. So it's like, I don't know why exactly that art style exists in anime where they really just break the rule and don't give a shit. But I think just exposure to that is what makes it less prevalent for me on this viewing. If I wasn't used to that and I was just used to the DC stuff, then it probably would be way more of an eyesore to me. Yeah.
You know, the first time I saw anime like that was actually Your Lie in April.
Well,
not the first time I saw it, but like where it's so obviously
it's very clear
CG, because that show is goddamn gorgeous. All the matte paintings are beautiful. The animation is fantastic. I think that every time that they show the main girl, the violinist, when she's playing violin, that's all hand animated, you know, and it's amazing. But then they have these shots that are the only CG shots in the entire show that I can tell of the dude playing piano, and it looks like these like big old pale sausages rolling around on the keys.
That.
It's nuts, dude. It's like
looks weird.
Whoa, okay. Like it's really well, like the shaders look fantastic. So it looks like anime, but you can definitely tell those are CG fat old fingers because they're close-ups on his hands playing, and they move too naturally. It's
that's
very
the
weird.
problem is like animating somebody playing piano is probably so expensive. Not necessarily possible, but imagine animating on the twos and accurately nailing a piece like fucking Moonlight Sonata third movement, right? That,
and it's also got to be, but it's also timed. You know, they have to hit on the. Oh my god, it would be goddamn.
I imagine that it would just be extremely expensive and time consuming. So they like have to go for the CGI, which
for like a 2-minute scene.
Yeah, I mean it's really quick, but it's just I thought it was funny watching those scenes. I was like, whoa, okay, CG, let's do it, throw it in.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, there has to be a mix because hand animation, as beautiful as it is, and how it can do basically anything, still requires so much more effort to make a piece of art. And like if you just wouldn't be able to afford to create something that tells the same kind of story as some stuff, and maybe that would be good. Maybe then Daryl would get his like shorter content and the world would be happy.
There you go. That's how you make it cheaper.
That's how you shorten it up.
But yeah, I mean, I think we are spoiled for I think we're very spoiled with the 2D animation that we get as a benefit from the supplement of CGI in certain areas.
All right, so
that's it.
Invincible. That's it. All right. Well, that's our episode on Invincible. So I will be watching season 2 for sure. I'm actually gonna go cook some food and finish the rest of the episode I was on. Nice. But cool. And so that was Invincible, and this is the We Like This podcast. You can follow us below on our Discord. That's in the description, and then on Instagram at WLT Podcast. Yeah. I always forget what the name is, but there you go. That's what you can do, and you can also subscribe, which is down below as well. Also, next week we're gonna have Doug on because Doug really liked being on the episode last week. So nice. Yeah, we need to figure out what we're gonna watch. You guys have any ideas?
I saw the new Guy Ritchie movie.
Not worth it. We gotta watch that.
We'll have to update everybody, but yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe Doug will have a recommendation for us. But cool. So until then, next week, 7:30 Central, 5:30 Pacific time, every Tuesday, except for when we don't do it.
Yeah.
Peace.